Devil got him. Thunder, 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 oh.
This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne. What you are about to hear is a sports talk radio show unlike any other that has ever before been broadcast in the capital city of Cheyenne, Wyoming, USA. This is Cheyenne, Wyoming's Sports Talk Authority. The Wyoming Cowboys, the Denver Broncos, the Colorado Rockies, and the Denver Nuggets. The show is local, it's regional, and yes, the show is national as well. Wyoming Sports Talk Today is on the air. If they're talking sports on the radio in Cheyenne, this is the place it happens. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today.
Welcome to the Thursday afternoon edition of Wyoming Sports Talk Today. Larry Peroetti along with Nick Peroetti. And again, a fine list of sponsors that we always want to recognize and say thank you to, that being Taco John's of Cheyenne. After celebrating their 50th anniversary last week, I'm telling you what, business is good and the food is always delicious. Make sure you're checking out their sirloin steak burrito over at Taco John's of Cheyenne. We want to thank Jolly Rogers RV Sales and Service over on Highway 30, your exclusive home for Jayco. RVs, fifth wheels, travel trailers. Again, cruise the countryside and stay in style in your Jayco RV from Jolly Rogers RV Sales and Service on Highway 30. Chick-fil-A at the corner of Windmill and Del Range, directly across from Menards, also Powers Field. And again, Ray and Cindy and the crew invite you to come on over. They always got some good stuff, some summertime eats and treats for you as well. And they do an awesome cater out. So maybe you're looking for that breakfast cater out. Chick-fil-A will come and do it. Again, they're available for weddings and anniversaries and special birthday parties, all kinds of gatherings. Chick-fil-A, go to CheyenneChicken.com, check them out. And again, they're at the corner of Windmill and Del Range, Chick-fil-A of Cheyenne. Kia of Cheyenne over on Nation Way. The lot is filled with 2019 Kias. The family of Kias are waiting for you to take a test drive and hopefully do some quick paperwork and then drive home the Kia of your dreams tonight. Make sure you're bringing in your present vehicle because they want your pre-owned vehicle over at Kia of Cheyenne on Nation Way. Platte Valley Bank ×2. Banking made very easy Monday through Friday with Rick and the gang over on Vandehigh. And again, the great crew on the east side at the corner of College and Pershing, Platte Valley Bank. Medicamp Pharmacy for all your pharmaceutical needs. And again, with your doctor's prescription. Gene, his great staff, they've been around for a long time, not their first rodeo. They know how to fill these prescriptions. They know how to explain these medications properly to you so you are taking them in the right dose. Remember, always do your business at Medicamp Pharmacy right across or next door to Texas Roadhouse on Bluegrass Circle. Lennox Auto Body, along with the Auto Glass and Detail Center, the Auto Glass and Detail Center over on Pershing Boulevard, the Auto Body Shop, Auto and Truck Body Shop on Dunn Avenue, and again, family-owned, family-operated for a quarter century. Heather and her great staff will make sure everything is done properly, and they accept all insurances over at Lennox Auto Body. First Year Bank at 1508 Stillwater Avenue, again open Monday through Friday, offering right now on a 27-month CD, how about a 3.1 annual percentage yield? Yeah, 3.1% annual percentage yield, and that is going on right now at First Year Bank, open Monday through Friday. Mondello's Pizzeria directly across the street at 1507 Stillwater Avenue, Suite D in the Greenway Commons. If you like Paisan cuisine, East Coast style, and the recipes for Joe Mondello have not changed since he came to Cheyenne some 30-plus years ago. And again, delicious Paisan cuisine, whether it's pizza, whether it's strombolis, calzones, or you want to do just a good old-fashioned sandwich like their meatball marinara. My favorite over there is their salami and provolone. Absolutely delicious. Again, remember, Mondello's Pizzeria, open 7 days a week. And we get things underway with our scoreboard. Our scoreboard is being brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne. We'll go first to Nick.
On the local side for baseball and softball happening today, we'll start with the Cheyenne Post 6 Sixers, who were in action earlier this morning down in Pueblo, Colorado, as they took on a team out of Las Vegas, Nevada. They had to come from behind, but they got it done and got the 8-7 victory this morning. So for Cheyenne Post 6, they are 24-9 overall. They will have a game coming up at 7:30 tonight down in Pueblo, as they will take on the Pueblo Azteca team, again, as they compete in the Nooch tournament down there in Pueblo, Colorado. So good luck to Cheyenne Post 6 as they have one game remaining today. Also, two playing today, getting underway at 4 o'clock and 5:30. Tentative start times up in Torrington, Wyoming for Cheyenne Extreme. Team Galicia, they will be taking on game one against the Garings Logos up there, and then also game number 2 against the Scotts Bluff squad. So good luck to Cheyenne Extreme as they will have a double dip today coming up in Torrington as they play some more softball coming up. No hockey as NHL wrapped up last night. Game 7 goes to the St. Louis Blues, as I almost called it. 4-1. I said 4-2, but either way, St. Louis, in the first time in 52 years, are your Stanley Cup champions. So again, no hockey as we are wrapped up for NHL, AHL, ECHL. There's no more hockey at this point.
Major League Baseball, a couple of matinee affairs going on. Actually, our finals now. Twins have defeated the Mariners at Target Field 10-5, and it was the Braves at SunTrust Park in Cumberland, Georgia. They nipped the Pirates 6-5. Games getting underway when we get out of here. It'll be the Blue Jays at the Orioles for this evening. Diamondbacks and the Nationals at Nats Park. Angels, Rays at the Trop. Cardinals and the Mets at Citi Field. Rangers and the Red Sox will meet again at Fenway Park. 6 o'clock hour, have the Motor City Kitties of Detroit taking on the Royals at KC. Yankees, White Sox at Guaranteed Rate Field in Chicago. 6:40, the Rockies will host the San Diego Padres at Coors Field as John Gray will get the call for the Rocks. He'll be opposed by Matt Strahm. And in the 8 o'clock hour, Cubs and the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium for this evening. NBA scoreboard. It is Game 6 on tap tonight in the Oracle Arena. The final time that the Golden State Warriors will play in the Oracle Arena as they will host Game 6, do or die for the Warriors as they entertain the Toronto Raptors. Raptors leading this best-of-7 series NBA championship 3-2. Tap time 7 p.m. from Oakland, California. Our scoreboard brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne.
Yo, this is your cup holder talking. You know me, the little round thing between your car seats.
#6102 East Highway 30. Jolly Rogers RV Sales, Parts and Service is a proud sponsor of LCCC men's and women's basketball, also our local high school teams too.
When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think authentic Italian. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think made fresh from scratch. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think great pizza, delicious Philly cheesesteak, superb hot and cold Italian sandwiches, meatballs, sausage and special subs, calzones, crisp salads, and great service. When you say Mondello's Pizzeria, think unmatched Italian taste. Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, your only true Italian stop for lunch or dinner.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
For today, it'll be mostly cloudy with a chance of thunderstorms this afternoon with highs around 77. For tonight, it'll be mostly cloudy with rain showers likely with lows around 50. On Friday, it'll be partly sunny with thunderstorms likely in the afternoon with highs around 76. And on Friday night, it'll be mostly cloudy with rain showers likely with lows around 49.
You're listening to Cheyenne's new Sports Talk Authority. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today on AM 1480 KRAE.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Wyoming Sports Talk Today. I'm Larry Proetti, along with junior across the way, Nick Proetti. Hey, we bring on our first guest, and he is the voice of the Laramie Rangers and new Wyopreps brand manager, also to broadcast colleague I've known for a long, long time. I want to welcome onto our program David Settle over in Laramie. David, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for the time, guys. A pleasure to be with you.
All right, David, you are the voice of the Laramie Rangers, and you have been that voice for a long, long time. Not that I'm trying to age us right now or anything like that, but the video's gone viral.
Get well over 1 million views at this point in time. It's picked up by everyone.
And we want to kind of diffuse it, or maybe you've got more to add to the situation, but kind of express your thoughts on what happened. Or was it just a simple plunking and guy flipping the bird off, and that was all there is to it?
No, there is quite a bit of backstory. I know the Rangers would love to be infamous, but I don't think they wanted to be infamous this way. Let's just put it that way to start with. There is some backstory to it. So apparently, so I have talked with a couple different folks that were there. I was not there. I'll admit that to your listeners, anybody that's out there. I was not in attendance. I was somewhere else last weekend. But following the Rangers, and kind of what was interesting was I was following this game. It was in the middle of the day, and I've been kind of keeping track of it, and all of a sudden it just kind of abruptly ended, and I was like, what in the world is going on? And then a lot of people might be familiar with Game Changer now and how you get stats and follow teams and all that good stuff. And all of a sudden, I went back in there and I was like, wait a second, what's going on? Well, lo and behold, a little bit of the backstory was apparently this was a chippy game for whatever reason. I'll be honest with you, I can't even remember, let alone try and factor in my own brain the last time we played Miles City in baseball. This might be the first time in quite a while. Now, we might have seen them at the Spearfish tournament a couple years ago, but I don't think there was anything different manager, different members on the team, so I don't think it was anything there. But I have not seen us ever play Miles City, Montana in person, so I don't think there's a history, but for whatever reason, Miles City had been playing in the game before. Laramie had been warming up, and they start playing, and apparently it just got chippy. Like they were old, long-time rivals, like it was a Laramie Central football game or something like that, or Laramie and Casper Natrona, I don't know. But it got chippy, and all of a sudden some guys started to be hit. The guy that ended up in the fight, I know they like to call it a baseball brawl, but I always characterize the brawl, and you guys can disagree with me or not, but about more than two guys going head-to-head. I always think of a brawl as multiple guys swinging punches, but the guy that got hit for Laramie had been hit for the third time, and then three other teammates had been hit. So that was the sixth hit batter. What was interesting was there was a guy hit earlier in the inning for Laramie, but it was a new pitcher for Miles City. But apparently there was trash talking, and so from what I've heard, the guy, the player from Laramie, got hit in the back, threw his bat, and kind of was, I guess, demonstratively, however you want to say it, was just kind of demonstrative in his mannerism, but was really asking the pitcher why, or so he claims. Why are you hitting me again? And that's when the pitcher flipped him off. They decided to go, and what was funny was nobody actually landed a punch. But to kind of, I'll let you guys ask me some more questions, but that was kind of it. Neither of those guys, I guess, played the rest of the tournament. Still kind of waiting to hear from some things, but we'll see how we'll see how everything lays out. But I was talking with manager Aaron Lozano actually just yesterday, and I'm getting ready to go talk to him here in just a little bit. But I think it was kind of a fluky thing, but I don't know why it got chippy, but it did. There was a lot of trash talking, and I think in hindsight, everybody's looking back like, boy, we didn't do good jobs as managers policing our own team. We don't think the umpires did a good job controlling it. I didn't hear anything in terms of the fans going back and forth, anything like that. I guess it was just the players and they just got into it, and it became a chippy affair, and led one thing to another, and all of a sudden Laramie Ranger baseball's infamous for maybe not the right reason.
Yeah, again, internet famous at this point in time as it picked up and got across, especially on Twitter, of the now infamous video that, again, has amassed over 1 million views. And it's not even just in the nation. It's been a worldwide kind of phenomenon. But at least talking about this situation with the Laramie Rangers, again, happening up in South Dakota against Miles City, being a part or at least around American Legion. And as we assumed with this incident, again, we had a feeling it was something that was brewing between the two teams. Again, the plunking and just kind of overboiled and involved in that little scrap. And again, I agree with you of it. It's not a brawl or anything. It was just a harmless almost scrap, so to speak. But in your opinion, again, as you talked and alluded that, nothing has been handed down at this point in time, but what should be the ramifications for, at least for the Laramie Ranger, for the Ranger player that got involved with that? I mean, what should be the consequences for this? And does the viral video, again, where it is now put Laramie Rangers on the map in a kind of negative light, does that have any effect regarding the punishment for that Laramie Ranger player?
I think, yes, Nick, in terms of the viral video. I think, unfortunately, that's played a role into it. I'll be honest with you. I've heard some conversations of a ban for the rest of the year to maybe a few games and anything in between. I'll say this much, though, for the player who was involved for Laramie. And, when that becomes public, I'll kind of do that. I don't want to necessarily throw him under the bus, because I think I'd be upset if I was plunked 3 times in a game as well. I don't know how many people like to get hit all the time in baseball. Now, does it happen? Yes. But he actually told manager Aaron Lozano, who relayed to me, he would self-impose a 10-game ban on his own. I think that's pretty upstanding for a young man to say, I'll self-impose a 10-game ban. Now, where that number comes from, I don't know necessarily. I do know that there was another player in the state that was suspended 10 games for a drug situation earlier this year. And what's interesting about that is I've heard some speculation about banning him for the rest of the season, which would cost him his career, because this young man's a senior and he is done with the program after this year. And I don't know necessarily if I agree with the rest of the season. I can understand because of the viral video, but I don't personally agree with it, because I'm going, is fighting worse than drugs? I mean, are we looking at it in that regard? I do think that the viral video hurts, and yeah, it probably does have a negative connotation for Laramie Ranger Legion baseball, and it's going to take a while to kind of rebuild the brand. But I was talking with manager Aaron Lozano yesterday, and he said, I could not say and apologize enough. I couldn't say sorry enough. I couldn't apologize enough. He was talking with one of the other coaches at the tournament there, and the guy's like, well, it just happens. I mean, he was really kind of taken back by the situation and what did transpire with his team. I think one of the positives was at least it was just relegated to those 2 guys, because it looked like it could have gotten a lot worse with some of the other players that were around that. But at least the big thing was it was just limited to those 2 guys. I thought the umpire came in from the field and tackled both those guys, and they were able to separate them. But, there's no excuse for things like that. But at the same time, the frustration boiled over. We'll wait to see. Like I said, I think this could be anywhere from a few games to, let's see if they accept the self-imposed 10-game ban by the young man. That means he would have missed, Laramie had 1 other game on Saturday and 1 more Sunday. So if they do go with 10 and they take into consideration those 2, Laramie's already played 5 games since then. They've got a bunch of action coming up this weekend. I have not heard anything, and I'm going to check in with Aaron Lozano here, as I mentioned, when I go visit with him shortly, that we'll find out if anything has been handed down, but I haven't heard of anything just yet. I just, 10 games, if you want to make it that's fine. If you think it's worse than that because of the viral video, I'd be curious as to see, but I just think the rest of the season's too long for something like that. I didn't see... but I wasn't there, and so I don't know what was necessarily said. Obviously, we saw the action of the pitcher, and that really kind of seemed to be the tipping point, but there's no excuse for either player in that regard. And so I'd be interested to see what's coming out of the Miles City, Montana camp as well.
We're talking with David Settle, voice of the Laramie Rangers and new Wyopreps brand manager. Hey, David, real quick, like I said, you've been calling these games for a long time. And American Legion baseball is really set to a higher standard. Again, these young men that play Legion baseball, again, they play for the individual post, here post 6 over on East Lincoln Way. But there's also an American Legion board here in the state of Wyoming. So again, the standards are really high to be a part of American Legion baseball. Now, where we're talking about maybe a self-imposed 10-game ban. So is the state Legion board leaving it into the board's hand, or are the Rangers themselves going to police themselves and say, hey, we're going to take care of this? I mean, what do you know about it?
Well, it could be both, because the player went to his own coach and Legion board members and said, I'll self-impose a 10-game ban. But I do know the state board is looking at this as well. And the state board is actually the one that is, you talk about a high standard, they're the ones who are actually talking about the rest of the season. So if it was a player maybe with some past troubles, I could understand a season, Larry, but I don't know. Not that trust me, I'm not condoning the acts, and I get where you're coming from a high standard, and I think that's why maybe the conversation has started with a season-long ban for this young man. Would that hurt Laramie? Yeah, because you're talking about a veteran player that has been part of the program. I think this is his 3rd season at the varsity level, and and what's interesting is people will hear the video. If you watch the video and you listen to the audio, you think that the young man is named Caleb. It's not. It's a different player. Neither of the guys involved in the fight were named Caleb. I'll be honest with you, I don't know the Miles City player, and I know the Laramie player, but his name was not Caleb. So it was not Caleb who was involved in the fight. I think there might be one other instance where you hear another name in there, but I think honestly, if it's me, it's somewhere in between. I think it's somewhere in between the 10-game where the player wants to self-impose a 10-game ban, and that's what he kind of approached the manager and the Legion board locally with. And then I think, as I mentioned, the state's looking at that rest of the season. I think somewhere in between might be good. But let me ask you guys this. I mean, is fighting in baseball, where we've seen it before, and I've seen the range of comments up and down, all the viral videos, and some people saying, well, this happens, it's sports, whatever, to people, there's no excuse for this. I get that, and again, I'm not condoning it, but is fighting like this, and really kind of a simple fight at that, worse than some sort of suspension for drugs? I mean, what do you hold in terms of a higher priority as a state Legion board is what I would be asking them at this point in time.
And again, in my opinion, at least regarding this situation, I figured that the player, at least for Laramie, should only get a couple game suspension, nothing too bad. Again, it was not that bad. It was just more of the viralness of the video that's going to put a negative connotation about this. But again, in my opinion, it's kind of almost, you slap him on the wrist, say, hey, don't do it again. But again, if he's not a troublemaker player, again, this is not a big situation other than the viral video. I think at least in my opinion, for fairness, just a few games is all.
Yeah.
At least, yeah.
And David, I also appreciate you mentioning, because again, watching the video over and over, where the coaches come in and the umpires come in and try to separate and again defuse the situation. Actually, they should be commended. Now, whether the umpires let that game get out of control, yeah, that's probably a good point. But again, keeping it diffused right there between the two players, because you know both benches emptied and nobody really wanted to offer anything, so you could see there was good self-control by the Rangers as well as Miles City. So I do appreciate the fact that the coaches stepped in there and diffused that before it could have got worse. But and David, I've been involved in two of them myself in high school. So, and one of them we got kicked out of the Joe DiMaggio League when I was a senior in high school. So I can relate to a hot-headed situation.
Yeah, I think sometimes you don't understand the context of the situation, and I think if more people Yes, it's a viral video, but they're just taking the video at that. If they understood the backstory and the context surrounding it, and again, I'm not condoning the action of the players. I don't think you should ever go down that line. And I do agree with Legion holding players to a higher standard. That's kind of built in some of the codes of conduct that these guys understand and sign off on when they sign up to play American Legion baseball wherever they are, not just here in Wyoming, but across the country. All I'm saying is I think there's more to the story. And, yes, I would commend the umpires and the coaches for breaking it up. I'd also sit there and go, why didn't you police yourselves better during the game? Why didn't the umpires why didn't they control the atmosphere a little bit better? Why didn't the coaches control their own teams a little bit better? And, hindsight's 20/20. You look back at now, like I'm doing here, and even visiting with manager Aaron Lozano of the Laramie Rangers, he's had some thoughts like that. You never, once something happens, you always look back at it and go, man, if we could have done this better. I mean, whether you're talking about a win or a loss in a game or whatever it is, in this type of situation, you sit there as the manager and you feel horrible because you're going, what could I have done to make sure my team did not get to this boiling point?
Absolutely.
A little bit more to the backstory. And I just – so the guys already missed 5 games right now. Laramie has they've got 2, 4, 6 games coming up Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They've got another 2 games next Tuesday and a tournament next weekend. So they've got a lot of games coming up. And I'm not trying to say one way or another what the decision should be, but I think, having some sort of final decision sooner than later, I think needs to happen to let Laramie know, are they going to be shorthanded for how long? I mean, because this guy hasn't played already in 5 games. So, I mean, if they go with the 10-game ban, then he's served 5, and he'll just have to sit out the next 5 and then would be back. And I don't necessarily think it would just tear Laramie apart in terms of not having one player, because the roster this year is a little bit deeper than it's been in the last couple of years because the manager set it up that way. He wanted to have a deeper bench. But it's tough to say what direction they're going. I can understand it because I've seen things get to the tipping point and the boiling point. I haven't seen it ever this close in baseball, but again, like I said, something must have happened to really go over the top. And then, to get hit a 3rd time in a game, albeit not the same pitcher hit him all 3 times, so it wasn't like you had somebody who was just gunning for him. I can understand that. I see hit batters all the time in Legion games, things that come close. Guys feel like they slide in a little bit hard. I've seen the Rangers actually get involved in a fight in the past, and it was something that happened in the past at one place, and a couple kids just kind of went at it. And so, it's not like this never happens in the sport of baseball.
Yeah, it certainly is at least commonplace. Now, final at least question from me about this topic about Laramie Rangers. A little tongue-in-cheek question for you there, David. But at least when you talk with manager Lozano coming up, I mean, for next season and seasons in the future for the Laramie Rangers, I mean, are we going to pencil in Miles City now to make it a rivalry, or are we avoiding this Miles City's team?
I think, honestly, if I had to put myself on the line, I would say we're probably not playing Miles City. I think Coach is worried about possibly being even invited back to that same tournament, which, has been actually a pretty good tournament in terms of competition over the years for Laramie. And like I said, I'll be honest with you, right off the top of my head, I can't remember us playing Miles City. That's not to say that we never have played Miles City before. I just haven't seen us play Miles City in person, so to speak. And I was trying to think back to, just past years of us playing, of just being around Laramie Rangers baseball. And I can't think of, if it's happened, it's at a tournament like this where, you're out of state and I'm not necessarily with the Rangers. So, but I don't know. I don't foresee anything with us getting Miles City on the schedule. And there could be repercussions, though. Once something like this goes viral, unfortunately, you do get a little bit of a bad rap with your team name, and there are folks that will kind of, I would say, steer clear of you, and that's something that Coach Lozano and his team will have to kind of repair that image.
David, hang on just a couple of minutes here. We're going to take a quick timeout. I'm going to come back. Got a couple more things to chat with you about, and we'll be back after these words.
Chick-fil-A is a proud supporter of our high school athletes at East, Central, and South. May the school year bring success to all of you. Before you start your day, stop by Chick-fil-A.
Possible drug interactions.
Medicap Pharmacy will always make time for you.
Medicap Pharmacy, 1947 Bluegrass Circle, next to Texas Roadhouse in Cheyenne. Or call 635-3712.
Taco John's presents Olay the Day Pep Talks.
Human history has shown anything is possible with inspiration and hard work. The 4-minute mile, a man on the moon, a water skiing squirrel, and now sirloin steak burritos from Taco John's.
Sirloin steak burritos are back at Taco John's. Stuffed with hand-carved sirloin steak and bold flavors like the melty, savory grilled cheese steak burrito, plus steak and shrimp or steak and potato olays. And for the morning, 2 steak and egg breakfast burritos. Sirloin steak burritos are back, but only for a limited time. Olay the Day at Taco John's.
When it comes to sports talk in Cheyenne, it's a whole new ballgame. Let's play ball! You're listening to Wyoming Sports Talk today, and it's only here on AM 1480 KRAE.
We are back on Wyoming Sports Talk today. We held him over, and we appreciate him sticking around. I do have one question, since he is in the thick of the know over in the Gem City, and of course, that is home to the University of Wyoming. David Settle joining us once again. David, we were talking yesterday about 3 Wyoming football players announcing their transfer from the program, and again, I call them defections, but you can say what you want to say. But what are you hearing? What do you know about these latest transfers?
Well, I think a lot of it is, kind of attrition by numbers. I think some guys are realizing after going through some things that there's some pretty good competition in Coach Bowles' program right now. And I think that's something that we forget as fans. And I'm going to take this kind of from a fan perspective. I am around the program, but I understand that fans get upset when players leave. Why are they leaving? Come on, you can't leave a great program like Wyoming. Well, you know what? Sometimes a young man comes here, he feels like he's got a great fit, and it just doesn't work out for a variety of reasons. Maybe they're just not hooked up with, the way that they feel like they're in the depth chart. Maybe it's something school related. Maybe it's something personal related. I've seen that happen already. I think I harken back to, some guys that didn't come back even during the spring practice regimen where guys left the team. So I think it's nowadays it happens everywhere. I mean, if you're on Twitter, and I'm on Twitter maybe not quite as much as some people are, but you see kids talking about I'm going into the transfer portal. So this should not be something that Wyoming fans are scared of. One, Wyoming has guys coming in that are transfers, and 2, you're going to lose players because they may not feel like they can fit in for whatever reason, for a variety of reasons at times. So I'm not going to overly panic anytime that a player leaves, because that player's leaving for, his or her own reason. Ellison, I think you've got really good competition right now at the cornerback position. You've got two stalwarts in Tyler Hall and Noodles, Antonio Hull, that are starters. Plus, I think you've got, some other guys that are going to mix in there for that nickel spot. Keon Blankenbaker is moved to that nickel spot, so he's going to get a lot of playing time. I think you got some other capable guys there at the corner position, and they like some guys coming in. Defensive end, I think, is a little bit of a hurt, but they're going to count on some guys to step up that had some good spring practices. And then Jackson was an interesting one to me. A young man who I thought might have been able to help the Cowboys last year, but got injured with an Achilles situation in fall camp, didn't play. He came back in the spring and was able to go through drills, but no contact really. That one probably out of the three surprised me the most, to be honest with you guys, because I thought he could have been a factor in the backfield. You're talking about a big physical running back, but I say that, and there are three guys coming in this current recruiting class that all have something a little bit different to them. They could all add to the mix. Now, I don't expect all three of those guys to play, but I think you might see two of those guys play. And I think also it's a credit to the work of some of the walk-ons. Brett Brenton out of Casper Natrona was having a good spring till he suffered an injury kind of late in spring practice. And I think you're starting to see that competition level I alluded to start the conversation. There's a better foundation, and that is, you talk to any assistant coach, any player, or head coach Craig Bowl, competition is the number one thing. And guess what? Not every guy is going to feel comfortable with that competition, Larry.
All right, David, appreciate that update. Now, and this is one of the nice things, it's kind of a tribute that people have that respect and trust in you, and you just get to wear another hat. So, you just get more on your plate. You can relate to what I'm talking about here, but that's why I bought the thing. It's like I had to unload a lot of these hats. But now, in addition to all of your duties, in addition to running a radio station, you are now the new Wyopreps brand manager. And may I add, Wyopreps has been around for a long time, providing broadcasters and the like, some great information,
stats, schedules,
everything.
news,
yeah. So you've added that post now. So tell us a little bit why and what can we see in the future.
Well, why? You guys have been around me and known me long enough, particularly you, Larry, a little bit more than Nick, but I have a strong affinity for prep sports. I do call the games for Laramie High School football, basketball. I am involved with Laramie Rangers Legion Baseball as the voice of the Rangers. I've done that now. It's funny because I'll be going into my 21st season, and I didn't know if I'd be around here that long. Let's just put it that way. The reason why is I have a love for high school sports in this state. It's just grown on me. I love the one-on-one connection that I have in my current job with some of the coaches, and this will give me an opportunity to kind of branch out and form some different relationships across the state. I know a lot of coaches and student-athletes out there right now, but this is going to give me a chance, I think, to get to know more folks and just hoping to make kind of a positive impact. In terms of changes, I'm going to tell you there's not going to be a ton of change, guys. I think that you might see a few more feature things, and some more poll questions kind of on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis, just trying to interact with fans and to, maybe kind of spur the fervor of high school sports in the state and some of the conversations that we have, such as what we're having right now. But I want it to be kind of fun. I want to reconnect with journalists and broadcasters around the state. I think that's been lost, that connection, a little bit in the last couple of years, and I really want to kind of reach back out to you guys and say, hey, what can we do for you? Can you help us out with some things? Because let's face it, this is a big state. There's not a lot of us that work for Wyopreps, so we can't be everywhere all the time. We're going to make mistakes. So I'm gonna ask ahead of time for people to be patient with us. Not probably going to get to everything that everybody wants us to get to, but we're going to try our best. I'm not seeing a giant change in direction. I think we're just going to try and build upon what we've done well with some different things that you maybe haven't seen for either a while or at all. I like the slogan that we used to have, more than just a scoreboard. I want some more information from fans, from media, feeding us a little bit more so we can add some context to, man, what happened in that game? I'm like you guys. I pay attention to scoreboards, and I look at a result, and I go, man, I wish I knew more about that. Well, that's kind of what we want to get back to, is we want to have more information to provide folks, from games, matches, whatever it might be, all across the state. And I'm going to do my best. My schedule with the radio station has changed. I'm still keeping my Laramie High School and Laramie Legion baseball play-by-play, but I don't have as much of a day-to-day schedule with the station. So I'd say it's probably, 80 to 90% Wyopreps and about 10 to 20% KOWB over here in Laramie. So it's my schedule, and things have changed. Maybe not quite right away because it's a little bit of a transition period right now, but I probably won't be, covering Laramie High School stuff quite as in-depth because I'm got more of a statewide focus and maybe a little bit less on UW than I have been. But I'm not going to forget those things, but I certainly have a different focus, if that makes sense for you guys, with what we're doing with Wyopreps.
Yeah, you're going to be a busy guy coming up, at least here we are a few short months away before we get started with football, especially in the Class 4A ranks, especially here in Cheyenne, over there in Laramie, with the Laramie Plainsmen. Speaking of which, at least something that you could do for us right now is talk to that AD out there to at least alter those press boxes there for Laramie Plainsmen football, or at least do something about that. But again, that's just tongue-in-cheek there towards you, David. But at least talk about the Laramie Plainsmen, just really quickly, final question for me as we are getting close to Class 4A football. Where do we kind of sit and stand right now with Laramie Plainsmen football under head coach Clinton Reed? Where is this program going to be headed at coming up in 2019?
Well, we lost some pretty good talent from last year's team that finished fifth, and finishing fifth and losing to Cheyenne East in the first round of the playoffs. That was our highest finish since 2005. So it's been a long time. It was interesting. I took over this job, and we were known as a powerhouse, and we haven't done very much since that point in time. This is going to be probably a major rebuilding year. We do have some guys that return with some experience, but lost a really good senior class. The junior class is pretty thin. That's going to be senior starting this fall. They'll count on some juniors and sophomores to kind of fill in the gaps, but this could be a bumpy season for the Plainsmen, just to be upfront and honest with you. I think Laramie has kind of built their program to try and get to a good point with what they want to do and where they want to be. But, obviously everybody, I think, is trying to get and break into that top level with Natrona and Sheridan, and obviously Thunder Basin and East have been in there in the last several years. It's been hard to crack that top four, and I don't see Laramie doing it right now. Now, if these kids go out and prove me wrong, more power to them. It's just one of those situations where this could be a kind of a roller coaster ride of a year for the Plainsmen, and right now they don't have a lot of depth, Nick. They really don't. I mean, we bring back some guys with experience, but you just don't have a lot of depth. And Laramie really hasn't had a lot of depth, which has kind of hindered them in the last, I'd say, decade and a half, where without a lot of depth, if you get injuries to your top-line guys, you take a hit, and a pretty good one at that.
Well, David, we want to thank you very much for joining us, and we'll catch up with you here. Media Day coming up the first part of August when we head over to Laramie. So we want to thank you again for giving us your insight on the Rangers situation. And again, we wish you all the best now as the new Wyopreps brand manager.
Well, we'll see what happens, Nick. You're right. I'm going to be extremely busy, but I don't mind it. I think if I can keep the passion and enthusiasm I have for high school sports in the state, and doing a couple different things that I want to do in terms of some features and just kind of continuing that conversation I said, I think it'll be a lot of fun, but we'll see how it goes, and we'll see how worn down I am after I get into it a couple weeks here. Because right now it's not too bad, to be honest with you. There's some all-star football and basketball that just happened, and we've got an all-star football game coming up Saturday, and then it's Legion baseball, a little bit of rodeo, but in 2 months, when we hit the mid-August, I know it's going to be hectic, to say the least.
David Settle joining us live from Laramie today on 1480 KRAE on Wyoming Sports. David, thank you again. We appreciate it. All right, we're going to take another timeout, come back. Hey, St. Louis gets to hoist the cup, and Nick's going to make me look bad. We'll be back after these words here on 1480 KRAE.
Cosmetic surgery. Is it right for you? Cosmetic surgery can help individuals enhance their appearance and move forward with a renewed sense of confidence. Dr. Joseph Luby at Cheyenne Regional is a board-certified plastic surgeon with 20 years of experience performing reconstructive and cosmetic procedures, including breast lifts, facelifts, liposuction, and more. To schedule a consultation, call 307-638-8987 or visit CheyenneRegional.org/appointments. Cheyenne Regional. We inspire great health.
You love the Lennox difference, from collision repair to minor nicks and dents. Certified quality you can trust. Nobody cares about your car more than us. Lennox Auto Body, we do what we say. We fix it right and get you on your way. No shortcuts, no compromise. Lennox Auto Body. No shortcuts, no compromise.
Lennox Auto Body at 1020 Dunn Avenue and the Detail Center at 617 East Pershing Boulevard, Cheyenne.
We are the key to your cleaning success. The Key People that provides affordable office and professional cleaning services for over 40 years with exceptional customer care. All of our contractors have background checks and are licensed and bonded. We guarantee you a safe and secure service that is tailored to your individual and business needs. The Key People do not impose year-long contracts, and all quotes are free, confidential, and personalized. Call the Key People at 1-800-468-8283. That's 1-800-468-8283.
First Tier Bank's drives remain competitive and offer some of the best CD rates in the community, as well as area banks and credit unions per Rate Watch reports. How does that make a difference to you? First Tier Bank can assist you in securing some of the best rates on CDs. First Tier Bank offers the personalized customer service you've grown accustomed to and deserve. Plus, feel confident that your finances are taken care of by a responsible, knowledgeable staff. Call 307-632-3500 and ask for Caitlin or Debbie. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Right now it's time to head over to Jolly Rogers RV Sales, Parts, and Service for low prices on outstanding RVs in Wyoming. Your local, exclusive Jayco dealer wants you to check out their closeout deals, as well as their 2019 inventory of trailers, fifth wheels, and toy haulers. You can save up to 30% on select models with approved credit. You can find them at 6102 East Highway 30. Jolly Rogers RV Sales, Parts, and Service is a proud sponsor of LCCC men's and women's basketball, also our local high school teams too.
If it happens on the diamond, the hardwood, the field, or even the ice, we'll talk about it on Wyoming Sports Talk today. Hi, this is Nick Peretti, inviting you to join Larry Peretti and myself each weekday from 3 to 5 p.m. as we, along with our special guests, talk sports locally, regionally, and nationally. And you can chat with us too at 307-514-1071. It's Wyoming Sports Talk today, only on 1480 KRAE, and you can stream live with us at 1480krae.com.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
For today, it'll be mostly cloudy with a chance of thunderstorms this afternoon with highs around 77. If it's tonight, it'll be mostly cloudy with rain showers likely with lows around 50. On Friday, it'll be partly sunny with thunderstorms likely in the afternoon with highs around 76. And on Friday night, it'll be mostly cloudy with rain showers likely with lows around 49.
Tired of lazy and predictable sports talk radio? We know you are. This is Cheyenne's new sports radio home. It's Wyoming Sports Talk Today, and it's right here on AM 1480 KRAE.
We're back on Wyoming Sports Talk today. We've got about 9 minutes or so before we get to the top of the hour. First off, I guess we'll go back to some of the comments that David did. Again, thank you to David Settle over in Laramie joining us here today, trying to give us his take. He wasn't there at that tournament, but again,
he missed out on the fun apparently. But again, thanks to the viral video, everyone could be up there in South Dakota to enjoy that moment that is now synonymous with Miles City, Montana, and Laramie Ranger baseball at this point in time. But something that we talked about yesterday, and glad that we got David on today to talk about it, of what is the ramifications, what is going to be the punishments, at least especially here, at least across the way there in Laramie with the Ranger squad, of what's going to happen. And again, we're right now we had a player step up, and I think that's at least commendable of him basically saying, hey, suspend me for 10 games. I apologize. I'm sorry for doing this to the program. 10 games, suspend me for that. And again, this is a player coming up and saying, hey, do this.
Yeah, I'm accepting responsibility for my actions.
But will that post-Legion team accept that? Is it also too something that the state is going to kind of kibosh and go, hey, no, we got to take care of this because now you've made almost a mockery of the state of Wyoming. And again, I'm just saying that in a generalization, but it is going to be interesting to see what happens to this player or any other individuals from Laramie, from that Rangers baseball team, of what happens now as they decipher and analyze this video and figure out what needs to be happened. Again, it was to be expected from this game of that it was building tensions, at least understanding from David that it was even before the game even started, that it was just building and building and building. Six players getting plunked.
The word was chippy.
Yeah, 6 players getting plunked 3 times on that same individual to the point where, again, understandable whether it happens in the pro level all the way down to high school where you get plunked, or at least if emotions get that high, it's going to happen.
Now stop there. If you've seen it in Major League Baseball, where the home plate umpire, if it starts getting chippy or
they'll start giving warnings.
What they do is they stop play, go to each dugout, and give them an official warning.
Yeah.
Well, I would think, again, you're in a two-man crew in this type of situation with Legion Baseball. I would think that the home plate umpire, the base umpire should have got together after 1 or 2 guys got plunked.
And they may have.
And they should have went over to each dugout and said, hey, we're not going to let this thing get out of hand.
Yeah.
If we do, there's going to be ejections. See, first off, you would know it as well as anybody, Nick. When you hear the word ejection, that means you're kicked out of the game. You don't want to be kicked out of the game.
Yeah, you're gone.
You want to play. So that, to me, ejection should strike the fear of God in a player. You don't want to be kicked out. So the umpires, for one reason or another, did not have the wherewithal to go to each dugout and say, hey, knock it off, or we're going to start sending some guys to the showers.
Yeah.
Well, so they're at fault. I will give David that part. The second part of this equation right there is when you see 1 or 2 players getting plunked, me as the manager, I would go out and talk to the pitcher and say, what's the deal?
Calm down. Or
yeah,
at least stop.
You're putting guys on base.
Well, that, but also, too, again, you're running the risk of potential injury. Again, what are you doing? You're being a little careless. Again, if this is something that was beforehand at least seen by a few individuals, or at least at that game, I would assume the managers did catch wind of this, or at least got that understanding. As you see your pitcher start plunking a few, and again, as those numbers escalated and elevated on that game, you would think as a manager, you would go up to that pitcher, or at least your pitching staff, and go, hey, give them your own warning of saying, knock it off, play baseball, and get past this little emotional fit that you're having right now and try and win a game. I think that would be, if you're a manager for Miles City or Laramie at this point in time, you'd sit down your pitching staff, or at least your whole team, in a half inning or something, and go, hey, calm down, play baseball, try to win, and stop acting immature.
Well, and then I think the immaturity part, really from a pitcher. And again, you look at, let's go to the pros here, the Mad Bum Max Muncy situation over the weekend, where Muncy stood there and watched his home run go, and Mad Bum says, you're showing me up, that type of deal. I'm sure other verbiage was used.
Yeah.
Well, first off, to Mad Bum, you're throwing so many home run balls right now, I'm getting a little ticked off at you personally as a fan. But here nor there, the thing is, that lipping off got stopped right away. So umpire came up to Mad Bum and said, ease up.
Yeah.
Okay, in the situation here where the pitcher plunked the Laramie Ranger player, and the Ranger guy did not like getting hit, especially in the back. That's not that doesn't feel good, first and foremost. Second of all, whether he gives him the evil Otto look as he's going to first base, that does not prompt a pitcher to flip you off. I can't even.
Again, it's almost a comical thing what that pitcher did.
Yeah, but the pitcher flipping you off. I mean, that is dumb. That tells me that the pitcher has no self-control.
No. But also, too, again, he is a teenager at this point in time. And, hey,
guess what? If you are planning, and this is just me now, if you are planning to go to the next level, college coaches will not accept that type of behavior.
Oh, no. If anything, for that pitcher right now, especially with the viral video, that hurts his case if he's still looking for a college. They're going to probably bring up of saying, hey, what happened here?
His stock has dropped.
Yeah.
I don't care how good he is.
But also, too, you wonder of where we're talking, not even for those individual players and that pitcher from Miles City, does this hurt, as David kind of alluded to, of teams not wanting to be a part or play Laramie because of what just happened of, hey, you are a bunch of rogues out here where we got to worry about you starting a fight or picking a fight or being chippy with us. You wonder if that start, at least with the viral video, does that now hurt Miles City? Does that now hurt Laramie Ranger baseball of saying, hey, we were recruiting your players, but now we know you got a bunch of hotheads and we don't want them on our team. Now does that affect Laramie, in a sense, that baseball program for those players that are getting recruited or possibly to be recruited, of where now Laramie is kind of a bad name almost of, oh, you played with this team, they're a hothead, look at this video.
And that's just it. It's a one-time incident that is getting blown up right now.
And that's what happened. Yeah, again, this would be normal in any other sense, but it just got that viral sense. It carried on, got picked up by multiple entities, and here we are. And it is something that Laramie has to address, the American Legion in this state has to address and figure out what the punishment should be. Again, in my opinion, even with the viralness of the video and how big it got, I still think for the player, for Laramie, only a few games. I don't think he should be suspended for the entire season. Again, take away his entire senior career for Laramie Rangers. Absolutely not. Where he was given, at least David given the other example of a player within the state being suspended 10 games for drug abuse or at least drug implications. I think even for at least for the fighting situation, I hold drugs or at least that situation a little bit serious, bit more serious, depending on the situation, but. I think with Laramie and this player, a few games should only be the situation.
And again, I think the state board more than the Laramie board is going to act upon this again.
But also too, the other question as well, and maybe we'll get some at least American Legion board member on that represents the state probably next week, or we'll definitely think about it. But does this now have a ripple effect here in the state of Wyoming? Does this also to affect Cheyenne Post 6? Does this affect the Casper team? Does this affect Gillette Rough Riders? Does this affect Jackson Giants?
Puts everybody on notice.
I'm just saying, does this now have a ripple effect across the state for the American Legion teams?
Everybody is now put on notice. And again, I would venture to say from the state board that a memo has come out. And I could be wrong.
And we'll talk to Ty about it next week.
A memo would be circulating right now saying this will not be tolerated.
Yeah.
And again, they've got their bylaws. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They set American Legion Baseball is set to a higher standard than summertime baseball programs. And again, there are do's and don'ts. And obviously fighting is a don't. And
well, I mean, that's in any league. You don't see the Mustangs going to fight.
I understand that, but I'm just saying there is a little more respect for that uniform that you wear. Okay? I'm not saying the Mustangs are any different. I'm just saying that's the way the American Legion programs operate, to a higher standard. And the thing is, with the boards, or again, with the state board, I would venture to say the state board is sending to the Gillettes, the Jacksons, Cheyennes, this will not be tolerated. Now, will this young man be made an example of? Don't know.
I hope not. I really don't. I think that'd be completely ridiculous.
I would think where he said 10 games and he's already missed 5 already.
I think that's above and beyond at this point of, or at least for the player. I respect his coming out and saying that, hey, give me 10-game suspension. But even for me, I'd sit that guy down and go, hey, you don't deserve 10-game suspension. It should be a lot less because, again, this is harmless. This is really harmless.
I think 5-6 games because, again, you figured 10 games, that's a fifth of your season.
Yeah.
For Laramie especially.
Yeah.
So
And again, as we are getting in the dog days of their schedules as well, again, where Post 6 is playing in respectable tournaments, Laramie's probably on the same situation of venturing out of the state and competing in high-end tournaments to get those quality wins. 10 games at this point in time is very drastic. It is also, too, where you're taking on, these conference games of Gillette, Casper, Cheyenne, Jackson, wherever it may be. These games are mattering towards your seeding coming up, at least for the state tournament, to get that potential to go to the Northwest Regional to move on to the World Series. Again, this is that time of the year where, for that player, it really matters because, and David alluded to it, you gotta plan this out of, will we have them or will we not?
Yeah, and again, before we get to the top of the hour here, I think the state board, like I said, the state board.
I would hope the state board does not go above and beyond.
No, I think the state board is going to kind of send their verdict down to the Legion board in Laramie and say, this is what we recommend, or this is what the bylaws say. Yeah. And again, there's probably something in the bylaws saying if you fight, you're gone.
But again, this is something that is a little unique compared to bylaws. I doubt they have anything of, hey, this is now a national thing of your team's known for this.
No, and again,
but anyway,
and again with the video, this is the thing too. They like you and me. They have the opportunity to view that video, listen to the volume, because again, it was recorded, and then they'll be able to make their own determination on what the penalty should be.
Yeah.
We do need to take a timeout to get to the top of the hour. Going to come back with more of Wyoming Sports Talk today right after this.
This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne.
Also being heard on translator K266CC Cheyenne at 101.1 FM.
What you are about to hear is a sports talk radio show unlike any other that has ever before been broadcast in the capital city of Cheyenne, Wyoming, USA. This is Cheyenne, Wyoming's Sports Talk Authority. The Wyoming Cowboys, the Denver Broncos, the Colorado Rockies, and the Denver Nuggets. The show is local, it's regional, and yes, the show is national as well. Wyoming Sports Talk Today is on the air. If they're talking sports on the radio in Cheyenne, this is the place it happens. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today.
It is hour number 2 of Wyoming Sports Talk today. Larry Perotti, along with Nick Perotti, as we are here ready to talk more sports with you. First, we want to thank all our fine friends that make our program possible. First off, Joe and the gang, Mondello's Pizzeria, where they are there 7 days a week serving up Paisan cuisine at its best. Again, all freshly prepared, not trucked in. Okay. There's not a sign back there saying this is the way we do it at every one of our stores. They do it Joe Mondello's way over at Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, Suite D in the Greenway Commons. First Tier Bank directly across the street at 1508 Stillwater Avenue. Again, banking done the old-fashioned way, customer service all the time. Tim and the great staff invite you to come on by, check out their special CD rates now. Out now on their 27-month CD. Lennox Auto Body over on Dunn Avenue, the Auto Glass and Detail Center on Pershing Boulevard. Again, family owned, family operated for a quarter century. Again, locally owned and locally operated. Medicap Pharmacy for all your pharmaceutical needs. See Gene and the great staff over on Bluegrass Circle next door to Texas Roadhouse. Platte Valley Bank ×2. Banking done the old-fashioned way, banking done the high-technology way, banking with all of the intangibles in between, including HELOCs or maybe a good old-fashioned home loan, auto loan. You'll find everything you need over at Platte Valley Bank on Vanda High and at the corner of College and Pershing. Kia of Cheyenne, talking about auto loans. Hey, now's the time to get an auto from Kia of Cheyenne because the lot is filled with Kias from Soul, Sorrento, Forte, Stinger, Telluride. I'm telling you, they've got some great-looking models on the lot, and make sure you are bringing in that current bucket of bolts. Trade it in, because they want your pre-owned vehicle at Kia of Cheyenne on Nation Way.
They took my dud of a car, so.
Yes, they did, and they gave you a good dollar for it, too, didn't they?
At least a lot more than what it was actually Blue Book value.
You got that right. Chick-fil-A, the corner of Windmill and Del Range, directly across from Powers Field and across from Menards. 2 convenient drive-thrus. They serve up 3 squares. I'm talking breakfast, lunch, and dinner. All delicious eats and treats to go with that at Chick-fil-A, corner of Windmill and Del Range. Here, good friends, Ray and Cindy. Jolly Rogers RV Sales and Service on Highway 30, your exclusive home for Jayco RVs, fifth wheels, and travel trailers. They've got a great selection on the lot, some great pricing, and also wonderful financing packages in place right now. Jolly Rogers RV Sales and Service in Cheyenne on Highway 30. And last but not least, we want to thank Taco John's of Cheyenne. Again, whether you are doing the sirloin steak burrito for dinner tonight, matter of fact, you might want to grab a few of them to bring home to the gang, because I think there's baseball on a little later on. Yeah, the Rockies and the Padres.
No baseball, are you kidding me?
Or you get a 6-pack and a pound for 7 o'clock tap time between the Warriors and the Raptors. So, again, just see Taco John's of Cheyenne. Grab some eats so you don't have to cook tonight. And again, guarantee you the food's going to be always delicious from Taco John's, celebrating their 50th anniversary here in the Cap City. And we get things underway, our scoreboard. It's being brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne. We go to the nexter who has some scores.
Well, I have at least local baseball and softball to pass along. A game earlier this morning that got underway for Post 6 as they took on Las Vegas, Nevada team down in Pueblo, Colorado. Part of that tournament that is going on this weekend. Post 6 comes from behind, but they get the win 8-7, and with the victory, they are 24-9 overall. For Post 6, their day is not done, however, as they'll play a late-night contest at 7:30 against Pueblo Azteca, at least down in Pueblo, Colorado, so look forward to that. So good luck to Cheyenne Post 6 down in Colorado. Cheyenne Extreme, they are underway, or at least should be underway right now up in Torrington, Wyoming, as they are hosting or taking on the Gehring Logos. That is game 1 of a doubleheader, as it will see, at least for Cheyenne Extreme, after this game wraps up, they will see the Scottsbluff softball team. So, again, doubleheader action for Adam Galisa and his squad for the Cheyenne Extreme as they look to continue their winning way. So that's what's happening. Local baseball and softball action. No hockey, as we'll talk about that. Again, no NHL, no AHL, no ECHL. That is all wrapped up, especially after last night's Game 7 victory for the St. Louis Blues.
We go to the Major League Baseball scoreboard. A couple of matinee affairs in Georgia. At SunTrust Park in Cumberland, it was the Bravos defeating the Bucks today. Final score 6-5. Twins win as they dumped the Mariners 10-5 at Target Field. 5 o'clock games on the slate. Blue Jays at the Orioles. That will be at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Diamondbacks and the Nats at Nationals Park in the District of Criminals. It will be Angels and Rays at Tropicana Field. Cardinals Mets at Citi Field. Rangers and the Bo Sox at Fenway. 6 o'clock game will have the Tigers and the Royals at, looks like they're going to play this one at the TD Ameritrade Park in Omaha. So the Royals will move that one to Omaha for tonight.
Yeah, because that game's on ESPN as well, too. They're showcasing it for whatever reason.
Well, that's where, don't they do the College World Series?
Yeah, but again, why would you want to watch ESPN for baseball for those two dumpy teams?
It's just to showcase the park. And 6 o'clock game, we'll have the Yankees at the White Sox at Guaranteed Rate Field. Rocks, Padres tonight, Coors Field, 84 degrees currently in Denver. Matt Stram will be on the hill for the Padres. John Gray, who's at the Mendoza line right now, 5.5 and a 4.27 ERA. He will toe the rubber for the Rocks. Late game at Chavez Ravine, Dodgers, Cubs later on. Now, a good pitching matchup. John Lester will go up against Clayton Kershaw. Hoops, 7 o'clock from the Oracle Arena. Final game for the Golden State Warriors in the Oracle Arena because they're out of there next year. Warriors and the Raptors. This is Game 6 of the NBA Championship Series. Warriors facing elimination right now.
No Kevin Durant.
They're down 3-2. Kevin Durant sidelined. Looks like
we'll talk about it more then.
Most of the weapons will be in place, but again, that'll be a 7 o'clock tap time. Warriors, Raptors, Game 6. Toronto leading that best-of-7 series, 3-2. Our scoreboard brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne.
Yo, this is your cup holder talking. You know me, the little round thing between your car seats. Now, listen, we need to talk. Now, I normally have a nice cold bottle of Mountain Dew in me, but at the moment, I'm empty. That's right, no Mountain Dew. Nothing in here but a couple of quarters and a dime. A fully capable cup holder like me just carrying your loose change, it's embarrassing. Look, I'm I'm not made for loose change. I'm round like a bottle of Mountain Dew. Glistening, cold, and delicious. I'm made to keep Mountain Dew within reach at all times, so you're never far from that incredible bold citrus kick whenever you need it. Just inches from your hand. So find the store already. Grab some Dew, toss it back, then place that bottle where it belongs, and put that loose change back in your pocket. Mountain Dew. Do the Dew.
Here the season never ends. From Wyoming sports to the Broncos in Denver. From Rockies baseball to talking hoops with Nuggets basketball. Local, regional, and national. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today, right here on AM 1480 KRAE.
Well, he's sporting the Golden State Warriors jersey. I don't know who 56 is on the roster for the Warriors, but
that's mine. That's me. It's my personalized
he
jersey.
should be wearing 30.
I have his jersey as well too, but again, I decided to wear the white.
All right. So plans at Casa de Proetti tonight include: do not bother us. Warriors are on at 7:00.
Mm-hmm.
I will watch about 20 minutes of the Rocks, and then 7 p.m. flip over and catch up.
I really don't care about
Well, I got to watch baseball, too. So I'm going to give the remote a little workout tonight, give the lazy boy a big workout because it is basketball and it is, well, elimination time. But we'll get to that here in a little bit. I just want to remind everybody, for those that are watching on YouTube as well as Periscope via Twitter, Nick sporting and I like that jersey right there. That's the cool one. I wish you would get the old city one from the Warriors when
they still sell that, but I think at least in my collection I have the white, the blue.
But this one had the cable car on it.
No, I know that. I know what you're talking about. I know. I wouldn't mind. They sell the old the 2007 Warriors logo, or at least that from the We Believe days of Baron Davis, when at least the historic first, where they were at the time the first 8 seed to upset the number 1 team at the time, that was the Dallas Mavericks. Again, that We Believe squad, coached by Don Nelson. Again, I know the city. They even have the town. They have the Chinese New Year ones. I have that, but again, they have a whole bunch. Again, with this team, with it being a national brand, they have that opportunity to branch out and make colorful and unique jerseys. And I think even with the Golden State Warriors, for their move to San Francisco, they're altering their logoing just a tiny bit for their move to San Francisco, I guess, with the Bay Bridge. It's going to be more accurate on the chest. The lettering's going to be a little bit different than what it is now, so it's unique for their move to San Francisco. So, but that's neither here nor there. That's something to focus for next season.
Well, and again, I don't want to get off the track, but it's interesting, too. The Warriors came from Philadelphia to become the San Francisco Warriors. They never really were the Oakland Warriors. They went from San Francisco to being the Golden State Warriors. Now, the Golden State entails California. No, wait a minute. It entails California. So, obviously, you PO'd Los Angeles right away.
Well, the backstory of why they became the Golden State Warriors was more so of it was supposed to be California's team. It was something of, hey, if you weren't an LA fan, but also too, that was also, Lakers were originally from Minneapolis. You got the Clippers that eventually came down there to LA. Sacramento Kings came in late as well.
From Kansas City.
So it was the backstory of why they are not the Oakland Warriors or anything like that. Why they are the Golden State Warriors. It was supposed to be a team not just for the Bay Area but for the entire state of California to get behind. So that was the reasoning behind the Golden State.
Yeah, they basically told L.A. go pound sand. This is California's team. But with that being said, again, the question is, do they remain the Golden State Warriors or do they go back to the San Francisco Warriors?
Hence the reason why they've unveiled their new logoing and their new lettering, and it still says Golden State Warriors. So, yeah.
All right. Let's get into hockey. I'm going to give you your day in the sun because you can say, Dad, I told you so.
I was one goal off from the actual score.
And Boston just they came out flat. They played flat.
No, I think it was more so St. Louis. That defense, especially with Jordan Binnington, looked phenomenal.
Well, yeah.
That defense where I told you yesterday that they need to step up, and when they do, they can win games. That offense is not is not a worry. Again, they put up 4 goals, as I thought they were, and they did. They've been consistent on offense to get pucks in net against Boston, but it was more so is that defense going to peter out, or are they going to show up?
But
and
the
they
team
did.
that wanted it more.
And again, that one goal by Boston was also to an empty net at the tail end.
The thing, though, with last night's game, the team that stepped on the ice that wanted it more was wearing the white jerseys.
Yeah, it was St. Louis.
I was shocked that Boston,
I've
did
been
not come out and control that game.
I've been telling you since the beginning of this series where Boston looked like the better team. I still believed in the St. Louis team that I think they were tested more than Boston to end up winning the Stanley Cup, and I think that's what led to this situation. Again, they were tested in the West compared to the East where Boston had it easy. Again, Toronto, you did whatever. Taking on a Columbus team that has never advanced past that first round. They were in new territory, and then facing against a Carolina Hurricanes team that really had no business being there, so to speak. A team that was not expected to do what they did. In my opinion, again, St. Louis was tested, which also, too, was a bit where I thought was going to be a little worrying, that they were going to be gassed out of the likes of taking on Winnipeg. Eventually seeing, a very talented Dallas team that took them to length. A very talented, who I thought was the best team in the West, San Jose, took them to the limit and got past them. I think it was just a building upon all 3 rounds for St. Louis to get to the point where they are, where they were battle-tested. They knew how to overcome the odds and take care of teams and get business done. And that's what we saw. And it took them 7 games, and they are your champions for the first time ever, at least in St. Louis Blues history, 52 years. It's the longest that a team in NHL existence has taken to get their first ever cup. And that includes expansion franchises. Yeah, again, 52 years. It's the longest streak, or at least drought, for any team to win a cup.
Interesting to note, the last 2 seasons now, Washington winning last year, where they were always the bridesmaids, so to speak. They were always good regular season.
I think this season compared to last season, Washington is a team that is known to be playoff bound, to do
every
good.
Every year.
But they find a way to slip up. Again, they had their drought as well, where they found their first ever cup for the Washington Capitals. It was more so of, it's a franchise that is known for winning, that is known for getting to the playoffs, that is known to do well in the East. Compared to the St. Louis Blues, St. Louis Blues are kind of a roller coaster of emotions, where they could be down in the dumps, be very terrible one season, climb back up, get into the playoffs, is what we've seen in recent years, and they might fall back down to the basement. They are a franchise that can be a little inconsistent. Even go to what we saw this season with the St. Louis Blues, a team that was dead last. Dead last. It is now your Stanley Cup champions.
But St. Louis, though, for many campaigns, has always been a playoff-bound team. They
only of recent, I would say for St. Louis, this has been about 4 seasons or so.
You could go look at the history. I would say over
St.
the last 20 years.
In NHL, for hockey, for me, again, off of where, especially out of the West, St. Louis is not known for being a winning franchise. But it's the reason why this is their first ever cup. Again, this is a team that has struggled. Yes, it can make the playoffs, but for St. Louis, for Blues and hockey, I don't put them in winning in the same conversation. It was never like that before, again, kind of recently for the Blues.
Usually the Blues are a first-round exit in the playoffs. Usually. And this year, like you said, they went through, they got bruised and battered, but I would say the easiest series they had was Winnipeg, the top team. Would you agree? That was their easiest series. They lost.
Well, yeah.
And then they just blew them away.
Which was a bit surprising. We're now going back. It's hard to say that Winnipeg was the best team in the West. I would say I still believe
of the top
I would
teams.
think it was either the 2 out of the Pacific of San Jose or Vegas had a good argument compared to St. Louis of being one of the tops in the Western Conference. But that first round was probably the easiest round. But it wasn't that simple though. It was not a sweep. It wasn't that easy, so to speak, for St. Louis to get things done.
I just said, but really the
I'm just saying, I think
the Winnipeg series was probably their least
it was
tested series.
Yeah, it certainly was. But again, you were going against a top-level opponent where, again, going for Boston Bruins, and their route to get to the Stanley Cup Finals. Again, Toronto, a fresh-faced team. Columbus, another franchise that is not known for winning, or at least a powerhouse hockey program, where this season was their first ever opportunity to get past that first round. Again, in franchise history, it was a first for them. For the Carolina Hurricanes, they've won a cup before, but in recent years, they've been pretty terrible in the East, and this was their first year, again, as a wildcard team to move on, and they moved on in surprising fashion, but they did not look impressive as they moved on. Again, in my opinion, for St. Louis, they were more tested than Boston was at this point.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they got tested against San Jose for sure. You know, you look at the West and the way things panned out. And again, you look at the San Jose route, where San Jose had a great series with Vegas, had an equally great series with the Colorado Avalanche.
And they were all with controversy as well.
Yeah, and then they had a great series with St. Louis.
As Vegas Golden Knights also, too, threw some shade last night on Twitter as well, at least their social media marketing
guy.
Are
they not letting this go?
Well, they basically put up, their tweet was, to kind of paraphrase, it was towards the Boston Bruins of, hey, you got a potential 5-minute major here to come back in this game. So bringing up what happened in Game 7 of that series between San Jose and Vegas, where, again, the 5-minute major that allowed San Jose to score 3 goals and eventually win that contest and move on at least to the second round to take on the Colorado Avalanche. So I thought it was pretty funny that Vegas was still having a little fun on it. But in moving past, again, congratulations to St. Louis doing something that was just unbelievable, unheard of. We've seen teams of note that have done something like this but not have reached that pinnacle. You look at what the Anaheim Ducks did about 3 years ago, 3 seasons, where I was able to attend one of those playoff games when they were taking on the Nashville Predators. It was a team that was dead last in the Pacific, but eventually climbed back, won the Pacific Division. They unfortunately exited first round to the Nashville Predators, but it's something that in NHL, if you're dead last, doesn't mean you're going to be dead last for long. If that team believes and has enough talent, or you find a way to bring up from your AAA franchise some hidden special talent, like for instance with St. Louis and Jordan Binnington, guy was an AHL product. They brought up when they were dead last. And he carried this team to the Stanley Cup and getting that championship for the first time for that Blues franchise. So it's amazing how NHL operates that, where what we saw this year with the St. Louis Blues, it is historical, but it's not that rare, so to speak, where we've seen other franchises go from the bottom of the barrel, or at least from the basement, climb their way back into things and do something special.
Well, you know, it's interesting to note with hockey, as opposed to NBA, where the balance of power is shifted now to the Western Conference. In hockey, it's actually
in hockey
it's a mixture. Yeah, the West wins this year. Last year it was the East. Then you had the Penguins go through a streak of a couple seasons. Blackhawks, Kings, Blackhawks, Kings.
So West.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I don't want to say there's a lot of parity in the National Hockey League, but
there's definitely no dynasties at this point.
Exactly,
again,
that's the word.
The only team that you would entertain as a dynasty was those Chicago Blackhawk teams of the early 2000s, or at least late 2000s, 2010s, where they were winning at least a few, but it wasn't back-to-back.
They won at 13 and 15, but then you can make an argument for the Penguins.
Penguins
back-to-back,
yeah.
So, and you look at this decade, Blackhawks have won 3 times, 2010, 13 and 15.
That's why I'm saying they have a good shot of being a somewhat dynasty, but it's not as special as what we're seeing with the Golden State Warriors, so to speak. So
again, but you look at the National Hockey League in general, and again, you just never know who's going to win.
Yeah.
That's the parity of the National Hockey League. And I will say this, with last night's win by St. Louis, and again the fan support. Think back to the 2005 season. So you were, what, 15 at the time? Remember that season was canceled due to the lockout.
Yeah.
So the National Hockey League has really rebounded with fan support. And that National Hockey League is now a fan-friendly sport. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean,
it's about the fans.
It is something where each franchise has a chance, has a shot at winning a cup. Again, where we've seen, Washington for the first time getting their championship, St. Louis getting their championship, even going back to last year where your runner-ups were the Vegas Golden Knights. Their first year in existence, and a brand new expansion franchise that makes it their first ever Stanley Cup final, and still has a shot to at least potentially get their first ever cup here at least coming up seasons of what they do, especially looking at in the American Hockey League with the Chicago Wolves, again, runners-up for the Calder Cup final. It is something very special right now for all franchises where, you look at Calgary, be in first place, be the top dog team here in the West. Tampa Bay, that expansion franchise that has at least had a cup and has seen some success. Carolina of the world. You look at a few others. Columbus, they're finding playoff at least hopes and getting into notoriety. Dallas is now getting back into playoff bound. Colorado getting some respect. So I think for NHL, they're in a very healthy situation right now.
Throw the Islanders in there, too, because the Islanders, if I look back, when was the last time they won a Stanley Cup? We got to go all the way back.
80s? 90s?
80, 81, 82, and 83. Similar to what the Warriors are trying to do right now. They were the dynasty back in the days with, was it Billy Smith? I do believe that was the netminder for the Islanders. So this is a franchise that kind of set the bar very high back in there. And then,
I think the franchise that is set the bar very high, and granted that was because a lot of the early NHL days is the Montreal Canadiens.
Oh, yeah, you go.
The Canadiens are the crown jewel of NHL champions, but like I said, they were winning when NHL didn't have expansion. It was it was 6 teams, and they were winning cup after cup.
But here's an example. Canadians, 1956 through 1960, they were winning.
Yeah.
65, 66, 68, 69, 71, 73, 76, 77, 78, 79. That and again, if I look at this right, Montreal's last cup was 1986.
Yep.
93 was their last cup. So, but again, you go
but
back,
not as long as a dry spell as St. Louis. Again, 52 years. It was a long time coming.
You know what? Another team was trying to make that mark for dynasty was the Edmonton Oilers right after the Islanders. Yeah. They won 4 out of 5 cups.
Say them, maybe Detroit as well. Detroit, especially their late 90s, early 2000s, trying to make that bid, especially when they were going at battles with the Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah, Avalanche got them in 96, and then Detroit came back, won the next 2 in 97, 98.
And do want to mention as well, too, going back to something you were talking about, the St. Louis Blues, they didn't qualify for the playoffs last year. So, again, this is a team that is not really consistent on winning, like I said. But anyways, again, of dynasties, you saw it in early NHL, but now with the expansions, how the draft works, how these American Hockey League, these feeder programs are operating, you do see a lot of parity, and again, it gives a lot of fans across the nation, if not in the North. Granted, it feels like Canada is never going to see a Stanley Cup because it seems like a lot of those Canadian teams are just early exits at this point in time. But it does give fan bases across at least the North American continent a chance. Whether you're in Vancouver, down in Tampa Bay, out in New York, whether Rangers, Islanders, Buffalo with the Sabres, down in Anaheim, L.A., or in the Central with St. Louis now, Colorado, Dallas, every community has an opportunity. Even now in Sin City with Vegas. Who would have thought that Vegas, back-to-back years in playoffs, last year making it to the Stanley Cup final.
Their first season of operation.
And you look at right now for the Vegas odds and I'm talking Vegas, not regarding, well, it does regard the Vegas Golden Knights, but coming out of Vegas, who has been favored so far to win the Cup for next season. Looking at it as I'm trying to get my notes up right here very quickly, but it does look like at least for the Vegas Golden Knights, getting a little respect, seeing that they are 10-1 odds. From what I can tell.
For next season, the 19.
Yeah, so again, they're one of the tops up there, along with also two, and as I'm trying to find my notes here, Tampa Bay, 6-1 odds. They are your favorite right now to win the Cup. Vegas Golden Knights actually are number 2 at 7-1. Boston, the Bruins, 10-1.
What about the
Avs? 10-1 as well. They are tied with Toronto, with the Maple Leafs at 10-1. St. Louis, they are 14-1 to defend and repeat as Stanley Cup champions. San Jose, 16-1. Winnipeg, 16-1. Calgary, 20-1. Pittsburgh, 20-1. And Washington, the Caps, 21. So you look at that. Tampa Bay, Vegas Golden Knights, could we see that? As I thought that was going to be this year's finals matchup, could that be the possibility where, again, 2 expansion franchises have an opportunity to win a cup?
Yeah, that would be quite amazing to see that.
So,
but Vegas, they're aging. Again, you got to remember that expansion.
You got young players that are right now playing for Chicago.
You got the younger players.
I was just there at Allstate.
But I'm just saying. But you also have the current group, especially
your one issue right now is your netminder with Marc-Andre Fleury. Again, he's aging, but you do have entities in place. Whether it's Oscar Dansk, who was phenomenal for the Chicago Wolves and had time playing for the Vegas Golden Knights. Malcolm Subban, again, brother of PK Subban with the Nashville Predators. He's a good netminder. He's proven to be a little inconsistent. He needs to work on a few things. He's not at Marc-Andre Fleury kind of talent, but again, Marc-Andre Fleury has been playing for a long time and is just one of the tops, at least goalies across the NHL.
But I'm just saying, though, when they did the expansion draft, they got the veteran players that are older.
Well, they had to pick and choose of who was allowing them.
Well, what I'm saying is then you could put it in comparison to the Colorado Avalanche that have done it through the farm.
Well, they got it because they had their fun. They did the same thing as Vegas.
But they are a younger team. So right now, and again, I hate to even see that Fleury right now is getting up in years right now because he is a great goalie. There's no doubt about it. But I just don't know. I think the Vegas odds are. Vegas,
again, these are early odds, obviously, again, as Vegas likes to have fun with that, but it is something to talk about where I think Vegas does have a good shot next year. Tampa Bay, obviously, a team that you cannot write off as much as it is commonplace with the Tampa Bay Lightning where they are just first-round pathetic, at least just a pathetic team. Boston's definitely going to be in there. Colorado, what we saw this year, I think will be vastly improved, and I think they could compete, if not make it to the Stanley Cup final. I think where Jared Bednar's got this team, and again, you talk a young core. Well, it's not a young core. It is a team that has been here, done it for quite some time, or at least 2 seasons now in a row, and have an opportunity. And also, too, you have that feeder program in Loveland with the Colorado Eagles where they've been doing well. They did well in their first year in the American Hockey League, and those AAA players can interchange between the Avs
and I think that's one of the greatest moves that the Avalanche did in that franchise. And again, I've always give Josh Kroenke a little needle in the back, but this was probably one of the best moves they did by moving that AAA franchise into the Loveland area. 50 miles away. Now your feeder program, boom, boom, boom. You can go back, rehab, and you can get guys fresh on the ice.
And to think this is the final year, at least 2019-2020 season, enjoyed what the chaos is going to be because we're going to see even more chaos in 2020, 2021 when we introduce the new Seattle franchise.
Yeah.
Where we go through the whole thing again of an expansion draft, who's going to be put up, what is that team going to be made of, and also, too, of what that feeder program or who's going to be the feeder program for that Seattle franchise again as it gets underway, at least estimate for 2020.
And we need to take a break, but you know what? I hope the fans in Seattle take this to heart, that they get out there and support that franchise because, again, Seattle tries to boast itself as a sports town as well, similar to Vegas. No, again, They've had basketball, the Supersonics. That one,
they're trying to get the Supersonics.
I know,
back.
but I'm just saying that one. I don't blame the fans on that. I blame that on ownership. They have backed the Hawks, football through thick and thin. For the most part,
I've seen CenturyLink where it's been dead.
Yeah, but they still back the Hawks.
Safeco has been dead when Mariners have been.
The Mariners still are surviving though; they're still there. So,
they're not going anywhere.
But they need to back this hockey franchise,
and I think they will.
And
I would hope
they
so.
will. Yeah. So again, we do need to take a time out here. We are going to be right back. Basketball It's Game 6 coming up later on, right here on 1480 KRAE.
Summer is just beginning, and it's a great time to plan all your home improvement and remodeling projects. This is Lexi.
And this is Aaron from Platte Valley Bank. A home equity line of credit can help finance summer projects, but can also fund summer fun like a boat, ATV, or even a convertible.
Stop in either Cheyenne location, and we'll show you the hidden value in your home with a home equity line of credit from Platte Valley Bank.
Platte Valley Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Credit subject to approval. Certain restrictions apply.
Check out the huge savings this week at Town & Country Supermarket Liquors. Here are just a few of the terrific weekly specials. Our Super Radio buys, heard only right here, feature Chi-Chi's ready-to-drink cocktails. All available types, 1.75-liter bottle, $9.49. Smirnoff Vodka, 1.75-liter bottle, $18.99. And Busch or Busch Light, 30-pack, 12-ounce cans, $19.99. Town & Country Supermarket Liquors on the South Greeley Highway, Cheyenne's low-price leader.
If you're looking for fun and style, then the new 2019 Kia Optima has what you need. And here at Kia of Cheyenne, we can help you own one. I'm AJ Miller, and the 2019 Kia Optima will reward your daily drive with comfort, performance, and advanced engineering. Kia Optima technology, your phone allows access to remote lock or unlock, climate control, 24-hour roadside assistance, and much more. Come in, call 775-0123, or go to KiaofCheyenne.com. We'll make it easy.
When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think authentic Italian. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think made fresh from scratch. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think great pizza, delicious Philly cheesesteak, superb hot and cold Italian sandwiches, meatballs, sausage, and special subs, calzones, crisp salads, and great service. When you say Mondello's Pizzeria, think unmatched Italian taste. Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, your only true Italian stop for lunch or dinner.
Right now, it's time to head over to Jolly Rogers RV Sales, Parts, and Service for low prices on outstanding RVs in Wyoming. Your local, exclusive Jayco dealer wants you to check out their closeout deals, as well as their 2019 inventory of trailers, fifth wheels, and toy haulers. You can save up to 30% on select models with approved credit. You can find them at 6102 East Highway 30. Jolly Rogers RV Sales, Parts, and Service is a proud sponsor of LCCC men's and women's basketball, also our local high school teams too. Chick-fil-A is a proud supporter of our high school athletes at East, Central, and South. May the school year bring success to all of you. Before you start your day, stop by Chick-fil-A for a hearty, delicious, and satisfying breakfast. Only at Windmill and Del Range. Breakfast is served Monday through Saturday from 6 in the morning till 10:30 a.m. Breakfast with Chick-fil-A, the most important meal of the day at Windmill and Del Range.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
For today, it'll be mostly cloudy with a chance of thunderstorms this afternoon with highs around 77. For tonight, it'll be mostly cloudy with rain showers likely with lows around 50. On Friday, it'll be partly sunny with thunderstorms likely in the afternoon with highs around 76. And on Friday night, it'll be mostly cloudy with rain showers likely with lows around 49.
Got something to say? Then get it off your chest right now. Phone lines are open at 307-514-1071. Make your opinion count and call the show. Wyoming Sports Talk today.
Wyoming Sports Talk today, Thursday afternoon. Larry Proetti along with Nick Proetti. Well, we could be down to just one of the four majors in action, possibly tonight. Again, we put to bed major number 4, which would be hockey. Football is not even getting close to summer camp yet. We have baseball.
Football at this point,
we got baseball full swing. I like it when we have all four of the majors going on at the same time. That's usually
the only thing I care about football right now is the XFL's having their summer showcase of trying to get talent in to at least solidify these teams or at least get rosters for those franchises again as they get underway. At least.
Gosh, I hope they don't throw stupid money around though. You know, I mean you go back to the old United States Football League. And
I think with the XFL, as we talked many a time about this, I think they're going to learn from the past of the old XFL, the old USFL.
Right.
They're going to probably look at the AAF that just recently folded, and they're going to probably break that down on money and everything else of going, all right, what is fair? Because, again, what is this league going to be? Is it going to be semi-pro, professional? Are they going head-to-head with the NFL? again, a lot of those questions are still up in the air, even though we are going to have football, or at least XFL, in operation coming up in February after the Super Bowl. So, but at least regarding football right now, that is the interesting thing of at least here and now. Yes, no games are in action at this point in time, but the offseason is certainly chugging along, especially for the XFL, of who's going to be jumping ship from the NFL, who former NFL members are going to be looking at this, at least summer showcase with the XFL, and, what's going to bring eyes to the XFL in that spring league coming up next year. But that's just a little thing about it, football.
Yeah, and again, with the XFL, and again, we are now, about 8 months and 7 months and counting down until the XFL, returns to business. But again, I want to go back to what I was saying. President Trump had the team, the New York, New Jersey Generals, where they threw stupid money out there back in the day. And again, was Herschel Walker the greatest running back at the time? Absolutely. But, to make sure he didn't go to the NFL, they threw stupid money at him. Again,
I would assume that the XFL is going to toss out good money. They probably won't compete with the NFL on big monies, but they'll go, hey, if you want to play in our league, that's going to be probably better. They're going to probably spin it and advertise it almost in a salesman way of, hey, the NFL is going to do this to you in bad ways, X, Y, and Z. But if you come to the XFL, we can't pay you the big money. Maybe down the road once we establish this league, maybe we can give you that money, but you'll be a part of history. You'll be developing this league. You can have a longer career here and blah, blah, blah. They'll paint all those positives. So this is the interesting time to find out and figure out what is the XFL going to entice these players to come on over? How are they going to pay them? How is everything going to operate, especially since we are slowly understanding, or at least coaches have been announced, general managers have been announced. We know the venues, we know the cities and all that, but now we got to fill out those rosters, again, as that is getting underway right now, or at least currently with the summer showcase.
Well, and Vince McMahon's going to find out his $500 million investment is going to bleed through very fast. And,
maybe.
And
I mean, they already got national television spots.
They got
again,
television,
I think ads are going to be there. Advertisers are certainly going to be back in this thing.
Again, and
he's not in it to make, or at least lose money.
And I'm not knocking the XFL. It had potential back in the day when it first came up, and the XFL 2.0 probably would be a lot better presentation, I would venture to say. But my point is, though, I still believe that me, and I won't throw you in there, once the Super Bowl's over, I'm done with football.
I'm excited to see what the XFL is about.
I know, but think about it, Nick. You've gone through 20 weeks of the NFL. I mean,
there's no guarantee for that for me, because, again, the NFL, for me as a product and watching the play of the game and all these penalties, all these calls, it's become a joke at this point where I don't commit the full season.
I don't even watch a full
boring
game anymore unless, I'll pick a game that I want to watch. But I'm
not committing
Zone.
3 hours to some of these pathetic games.
I'm on Red Zone watching it now. I don't even give a full game my attention anymore because the game itself has lost its panache.
It's slowed down tremendously.
But with the XFL, and again, if they're watching all of the stupidity that Roger Goodell has implemented,
I would assume that they are.
Then you would hope the product is going to be a lot better. But again, after 20 weeks of the NFL, and I'm not including preseason because preseason to me I never even watch. But I'm just saying, after 20 seasons of watching NFL football, playoffs, Super Bowl, I'm ready to move on. I'm ready for baseball. That's just me talking. Will I peekaboo into the XFL? Yeah. But again, too, I'm not going to sit there and watch a whole game. Because, again,
supposedly the games are going to be a lot shorter, or at least a lot quicker.
Don't know the teams, don't know the players. And
I think in due time, the XFL is going to unveil that of, hey, here's the teams, here's the players, here's your coaches, here's ownership, blah, blah, blah. They're going to go through that at this point in time to familiarize at least the world, or if not the nation, of, hey, this is what we're about. This is what the XFL is. I would not doubt that before the season starts, you're going to have some big press conference of basically outline of, here's the rules, or here's how the game operates, how short it's going to be, how quick it is, how few penalties are, how everything operates, I would not doubt that they have some big rundown before it unveils. Same with the rosters of saying, hey, here's big name A, part of the New York franchise. Here's big name B, part of the Texas franchise. Here's big name C of wherever.
Right. Well, the thing here, this is what Vince McMahon is going to have to do. On opening day of 4 of those teams, wherever they're at, Dallas, Houston, Los Angeles, New York, he's going to have to show the fringe fan, and I'm talking fringe fan. Mm-hmm. This would be Pops here. That would be the fringe fan, because I'm bored with football. I'm ready for baseball. So, show me butts and seats. Show me that this product is worth 45, 50,000 fans to show up and watch it. That's what Vince McMahon's got to prove to me, that you are going to get takers on the XFL 2.0.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, I'm not going to be a taker.
And if you go off of what the AAF was showing at some of these venues, it isn't good.
There wasn't enough people in there to start a fight.
No. Yeah, it is something very alarming, but also to the AAF. Again, that was your feeder program to the NFL. It was the NFL kind of treated it as the bastard child.
How about the NFL Europe? That was even worse.
Well, that's just on the NFL then, and I think the XFL is going to be clearly different and basically go, hey, we're going to promote the hell out of this thing, showcase it off, and we want fans out here to support these teams. Absolutely, I think they'll do it a lot better. But if it is a trend that what we saw in the AAF. In 2020, if it continues where fans aren't showing up, that's not good. Those venues were extremely empty in those games.
Yeah. Now, I think, and I will tip my cap to the XFL 2.0 for kind of watering it down a little bit. 8 teams. So you have Bob Stoops, again, big name, coaching at Dallas. Mm-hmm. You got June Jones at Houston. So that's going to be a run-and-shoot type of offense. You got Winston Moss in Los Angeles. Los Angeles worries me. They don't support springtime football. They haven't.
No.
United States Football League, that's where Steve Young was at, and they didn't do it in the old World Football League years ago.
Well, they didn't do it in the XFL as well.
And you have New York, Kevin Gilbride, again, another big-name coach. You got Jonathan Hayes at St. Louis, Jim Zorn. And again, a good football player / coach. You got Tampa Bay Mark Trestman, and you got Washington, D.C. Pep Hamilton. Again, D.C., home of the Redskins. Redskins could go 0-16. They're still going to sell out FedEx. Okay? You have Tampa Bay. Yeah, they may split them up. They may split up the fan base. Seattle, you got problems there with even with the Seahawks. I think you're gonna have problems. St. Louis,
I think St. Louis might be dying for football, and that might be that outlet.
New York, again, where are you gonna play at the Meadowlands? I think they're gonna play at the Meadowlands, right? They're not gonna play at Citi Field.
I think the only oddball, they're not playing the baseball stadium. I think the only one that is going to do that is the Dallas franchise that's going to play in Globe Life Park. But I think for the LA franchise, they're playing in the Coliseum. If I do remember, Houston's playing in. They're playing where the Houston Dynamo is, so soccer venue.
Right. See, if they're going to play in the Coliseum in Los Angeles, that's 90,000 seats, Nick.
Yeah.
I mean, even the Rams don't sell that thing out.
It's either the Coliseum or either they're playing where the Chargers are at in that soccer stadium. I know some are splitting time between soccer stadiums. Tampa Bay is playing in Raymond James Stadium there with the Buccaneers. So again, it kind of fluctuates through all those venues.
But like I said, to impress me to watch the XFL, week 1, I want to see those venues sold out. Week 2, wherever you're at, I want to see a good percentage of people. I used to support the Denver Gold way back, again, well before you were born. And we would go to Mile High because they shared it with the Denver Broncos. Mouse Davis was the head coach back then. He was the architect of the run and shoot office. It was fun football. I remember seeing the Boston Breakers, back in the day when they came down. It was good football. But also, too, it was like in March. It was like, but then again, we didn't have baseball. And I wasn't a Denver Zephyrs fan. So it was like, okay, yeah, I'll kill some time. I'll go to but it was fun football back in the day.
Yeah.
All right, we do need to take a quick timeout. We'll come back. Warriors and Raptors, Game 6 coming up. Your locally owned and operated radio stations, KYOI-FM and 1480 KRAE AM, are just that, local, serving Cheyenne and Laramie County, where your advertising dollar stays local, too. It doesn't end up in Colorado, Oklahoma, New Hampshire, or even New York. We conduct business here, we shop here, and we live here. And we support our entire community 24/7, 365. Just because it has a window dressing doesn't mean it isn't a facade. A reminder from KYOI and 1480 KRAE.
You can actually get something good for your health at a drive-through window. When you order your next prescription from Medicap Pharmacy, call ahead and use our drive-through window. Or you can call for free delivery. You can even log on to Medicap.com and order a prescription refill. Your Medicap pharmacist will call you to make arrangements for pickup or delivery.
Medicap Pharmacy will always make time for you.
Medicap Pharmacy, 1947 Bluegrass Circle, next to Texas Roadhouse in Cheyenne. Or call 635-3712.
Taco John's presents Olay the Day Pep Talks. Human history has shown anything is possible with inspiration and hard work. The 4-minute mile, a man on the moon, a water skiing squirrel, and now sirloin steak burritos from Taco John's.
Sirloin steak burritos are back at Taco John's. Stuffed with hand-carved sirloin steak and bold flavors like the melty, savory grilled cheese steak burrito, plus steak and shrimp or steak and potato olays. And for the morning, 2 steak and egg breakfast burritos. Sirloin steak burritos are back, but only for a limited time. Olay the day at Taco John's.
Capital Lumber is lumber one in Cheyenne. Are you listening? We're all the lumber store you'll ever need.
Come one, come all. The Capital Lumber Company's 11th annual Bell Sander Races on Wednesday, June 19th, beginning at 5:30 p.m. The entry fee is free, and you can register today at the Capital Lumber Company inside. Also, you can do it on their website and Facebook page. Prizes will be awarded for first, second, and third, and most creative belt sander. It's fun for the whole family at Capital Lumber Company's 11th annual Belt Sander Races, Wednesday, June 19th at 1222 Dunn Avenue in Cheyenne. Do you want the peace of mind of a professionally installed security camera system? Then go with a name you trust, High West Digital Solutions, a High West energy company. The experienced team at High West Digital Solutions will customize a video security system for you, helping you keep an eye on everything going on inside or outside your home or business. Go to hwds.com or call 307-245-4333. High West Digital Solutions, the best choice, the local choice, the right choice for you. First Tier Bank strives to remain competitive and offers some of the best CD rates in the community, as well as area banks and credit unions per Rate Watch reports. How does that make a difference to you? First Tier Bank can assist you in securing some of the best rates on CDs. First Tier Bank offers the personalized customer service you've grown accustomed to and deserve. Plus, feel confident that your finances are taken care of by a responsible, knowledgeable staff. Call 307-632-3500 and ask for Caitlin or Debbie. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
For today, it'll be mostly cloudy with a chance of thunderstorms this afternoon with highs around 77. If it's tonight, it'll be mostly cloudy with rain showers likely with lows around 50. On Friday, it'll be partly sunny with thunderstorms likely in the afternoon with highs around 76. And on Friday night, it'll be mostly cloudy with rain showers likely with lows around 49.
We're taking Cheyenne, Wyoming Sports Talk Radio to a whole new level. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today.
Don't look at me. I think these people are completely nuts.
Stop this crazy thing! And it's only here on AM 1480 KRAE.
Back on Wyoming Sports Talk Today, a very short segment here. Warriors, Raptors, Nick, Game 6, Oracle. Does it go back to Toronto for Game 7?
Yeah. Plain and simple, yeah. Again, is there any doubt that the Warriors know what's on the line here, can't come back from this? They've been in a situation, at least not in the NBA Finals, they've been on the opposite side.
Up against the wall.
But I'm just saying, they've been down 3-1 in a playoff series and come back and won. Nothing tells me that they can't hear.
I'm just nervous for the fact tonight that the Warriors, believe it or not, they've lost.
You're going to have so much emotion.
I know, but they've lost
3
Oracle at home to the Raptors. 1 in the regular season, and those games 3 and 4 they lost. So I'm a little nervous. Do I want the Warriors to win? Absolutely, I want them to win. Also, Again, so you feel they'll go back to Toronto for Game 7? Yeah. I'm going to jump on that bandwagon.
I mean, my feeling of what I think of this series and where it's going to end up. I think, you pull for the team again. Hence the reason why I'm wearing the jersey at this point in time. But a lot of emotion, a lot's going to be on the line for tonight, especially for the Warriors being back again. Final game there at Oracle. It's going to be historic. It's going to be loud, and I think the Warriors make a statement.
Unfortunately, we won't have a lot of time to dwell on this. We might tomorrow. The latest on Kevin Durant.
Latest on Kevin Durant, where he's had the surgery. We know it's the Achilles injury. We're again estimated of 9-12 months. Again, just kind of on the positive and bad side of things. At least from
surgery went well.
Yeah, it went well, but from Kevin Durant's camp, it's been made official, and it was broke about a couple hours ago, that Kevin Durant for the 2019-2020 season, including postseason, he's not playing. He's not playing.
Yeah, he shut down.
There's no basketball for Kevin Durant. That has been official that he is not coming back. You will not see him on a court at all next season due to this injury. And it does bring up what is going to happen this offseason. Is this beneficial for the Warriors?
Absolutely.
Does this also take back a bit of the stock for Kevin Durant if he is on that free agent market for other teams where you don't get him for a year now?
Yeah. Nobody's going to.
You're going to pay him for a year, but you don't get him for a year.
Nobody's going to go on that deal. Not at $30 million. Not going to happen.
Yeah.
All right. We'll dwell on that more tomorrow when we get a chance, and hopefully talk about a Warriors win. Looking forward to game.